What's going on, guys? Back today with another video. If you guys notice, I kind of uploaded really late, and you could consider this, I guess, a double upload, but I'm very sorry about dropping that late, so I'm just gonna drop this another video today at a better time. And today's topic is something that has been bothering me for years. It is so annoying. Like, we need to find a way to help these people. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about both parasocial relationships and stan culture in general. Now, you might be asking yourself, what in the world does parasocial even mean? Like, what are you talking about? Well, I'll put it simply, parasocial relationships are just one-sided relationships where the other side basically has no idea you exist at all. Like, you're putting all this time, all this effort, all this like love towards this person or entity, and they have no idea it even exists at all. This is obviously most commonly seen with the main thing we're going to talk about today. Uh, Artists is probably the main place you see all these people, but then it also applies to celebrities and sports teams. It applies to all of those things. And I'm the most popular examples that I will definitely give you off the top of my head, like Taylor Swift, Beyonce, and Drake. Those, mainly the first two. Oh my goodness, you see the first two everywhere. It is like almost unbearable how often you will see these people anytime that their names are like even whispered in like the corners of the internet. Like you could if you bro, if you are bold enough to use a hashtag that like stan base, we'll call it, uses, your mentions will be flooded, whether what you're saying is good or bad. Like, you will be just absolutely raided because of like they're an actual like online army. It's like low key horrifying how like coordinated they can be sometimes. It is super 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 scary. Now, in terms of sports teams, this problem is like nowhere near as bad as it is with like singular individuals. Like, I follow Man City and the Heat mostly, and like mainly is with sports teams. It just is like in the house discussion about like how the team's doing, upcoming games, well, we need players, how are we gonna solve issues with the team. Like, is nowhere near like you'll obviously run into your crazy fan of X team every now and then, or you'll see one post just an outrageous take about someone, and like, yeah, that's, you'll see that. But what I this is like a grain of sand at a beach in comparison to the like vast ocean of the main problem I'm talking about at hand here, which is how like super bad these like stands are, dude. Oh my goodness. This, like, we need to help these people. Now, I've brought it up multiple times at this point, but I've been like fully explained like what an actual like stan is. Like, what is a stan? What is stan culture? Well, a stan of someone is essentially someone who's just like laser focused and like wholly obsessed with this one person or group or entity. Ow, I just hit my hand on my desk. Um, but they like dedicate like their whole like online presence, sometimes even their whole lives, to this one thing. Like, this one thing is their entire life. And with the three examples I mentioned earlier, you will see this all the time. Like, their whole like account, like, it has the profile picture of that artist. Their name is probably a song title or album title related to the artist, and like every single one of their tweets will be talking about them. They'll be reposting stuff about them. They obviously follow them. Like, they are like, they have like ingrained that person into their lives so hard that like it it has essentially become like oxygen to them. Like, it is water, oxygen, and whoever person they are quote unquote standing. Like, It is low key horrifying. Like I don't think I could ever do that in my life. Like I've made it a mission to never ever ever be obsessed with someone like that. Like it is so unhealthy for you, dude. Oh my goodness, it is so unhealthy for you. Now when it comes to stan culture, like the culture of these creatures, um there's like so much that goes into it. It is like a maze to try and decipher everything that like goes on. Like they'll obviously, it's kind of like obviously like the group of stands, they're like cliques, like they stick together like this, and whenever like two artists are like coming against each other, let's say for like first week sales of an album, or um like if one artist like mentions another artist in like an interview, or like even in like a song, like they they will always have to latch onto that, and then they will use it to like, they could use it to like prop up other stands, like, yeah, look, our artist mentioned your artist, so let's come together and both celebrate this. Or it could be like they mentioned them in an interview, whether it's in a good or bad light, and then they will do this thing where they will start like, they will dig so far into like the past of a bunch of other artists, other people, to try and put those other people down. It is low key scary. Like I don't know if you guys remember, or if any of you guys were there on Twitter, and like I want to say like right around when lockdown, like 2020, 2021 Twitter, dude, those K-pop stands during that time of Twitter, they were ruthless, bro. They if you like talk down on them like in any way, shape, or form, your address was online in like 5 minutes, dude. It was horrifying. They did not play around when it came to their group, bro. It was scary, and it's like it really like baffles. Like I really like try to understand, how is this possible for so many people to do? Like it genuinely like does not make any sense to me. How can you be this obsessed with someone and want to be a part of this, like, honestly like strange like culture? Like what compels you to do something like that? In asking that question, it kind of, you kind of got to boil it down to a couple of things. I think the main thing when it comes to this sort of situation is, I guess, people's like innate feeling of wanting to be a part of something bigger. It's like something that's bigger than them, so they feel, involved with something. Like it definitely is a what's the word? It's definitely a way of like not feeling alone, I guess. I'm not feeling left out because there's so many people that share their interests. I mean, that's obviously one of the easiest ways to make friends, is share an interest with someone. Like, hey, you like this artist? Like, oh yeah, I like this artist too. Boom, conversation starter. Um, I definitely think it is easier online to make friends that way, because then that can branch out into a bunch of other interests, and then you guys become a lot closer. Very simple domino effect that we've probably done thousands of times. But like, what just becomes crazy is that with this happens for like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. Like these are all like this one giant like conglomerate of people all together, like holding this like undying support for this one person or entity. And like I said earlier, it can get like absurd. Like I honestly think that the craziest group of these people like has to be like Taylor Swift stands. Like we all probably know someone in real life that is a fan of Taylor Swift. Not a stan, a fan. That is a huge difference. Like, a fan is just like a normal person, a normal person that likes said artist or entity, while a stan is someone who is like hyper obsessed, like hyper obsessed, not like someone who's like who's really into this like a game and they can like geek out about it every now and then. I mean someone who is like their entire lives revolve around this thing. And that stuff is extremely scary because I think the main negative effect that comes from stan culture is like it creates this like massive hive mind of people who are all trying to push essentially the same agenda, whether it is something that the artist said or they're trying to defend something the artist did, even if it's good or bad. Like they are all like this one like brain that will move out in waves and attack you if you do not agree with whatever's going on. I think like besides Taylor Swift, I think Beyonce fans online they are like actual bees, bro. They will swarm you if you're not rocking with whatever Beyonce is doing. Like I think this came up recently whenever that news about that court case had come out about Jay-Z. Like they were all like swarming to her defense like, "Oh, how was she supposed to know? Um how was she supposed to know about this? It's fine. They were like together. It doesn't even matter. Like, dude, you guys are embarrassing yourselves, and this looks really bad. Please think for yourselves." That is probably my number one gripe when it comes to all of this, like, encompassed together. Is like, it makes it to where people aren't thinking for themselves. Like, they're trying to think in the best interest of the artist and not, like, really considering their own feelings. And obviously I mean you've probably seen plenty of movies or read plenty of stories where when people aren't able to think for themselves, bad things happen. Very bad things happen. I obviously believe that the internet has definitely had a major impact on all of this because I think before like it was really a thing. Like these people definitely still existed, obviously, but they didn't have like let's say a space where they could just freely talk about this. Like the most you'd probably get where people would be able to do this, they'd be like they could like call into a radio, or the main way would usually be they just go to like the concert and that's it. And that would probably be like the only way you'd really see this. Like this whole like phenomenon I think has been like it blew up as the internet was blowing up because people would gain access to stuff like blogs, stuff like YouTube, like Facebook, and then eventually Twitter. Like those are probably like the four horsemen of this like major movement. And I am very glad to have avoided this completely. I'm so happy that like yes, there are things and people and games that I'm very passionate about. I already mentioned the two teams that I follow earlier. I've talked about on this channel multiple times, like games that I'm very passionate about. But I would never in a million years consider myself a stan of anyone. Anyone. Because what happens is that you end up idolizing a person, and that in itself is just not healthy for you because you need to be able to you need to think, like I said, you need to think for yourself. You need to be able to think for yourself. And what idolization does is that it sets like unrealistic standards on yourself, and that can lead to very negative thoughts about yourself. And that is probably going to wrap up everything that I have to say about this. This Have you guys ever had any sort of encounter with these type of like people? I definitely say I have, and it can either be the funniest interaction ever because of how crazy the person is about this, especially if they're wrong, or it can be like the most like mind-numbing conversation you'll ever have in your life. It like, bro, a lot of times when you're trying to talk to these sort of people, it is quite literally like trying to talk to a brick wall. Oh man, it is because like they're obviously gonna defend their the person they're standing like basically to the grave. And while I respect you standing for your opinion, everyone should be able to do that. In times like these and in this situation, it no, please. Please, we need to help you see the error of your ways, and we need to help you find your second artist. Or yeah, find your second artist, play your second game. Uh this is definitely a problem like throughout all of media, but it is mainly has to do with music. And that will do for me here. Have you guys ever had any sort of like crazy interaction with a stan? I want to know in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share the video, and I will be seeing you guys tomorrow.